Lord, give it all to you, Lord. Lord, seek comfort when I'm weak. Set my eyes on you, Lord. No need to search to find. Your love is so divine. Say it and it shall be so. Glory, glory, hallelujah. You said you take this heavy load off. Hello, everyone. And I don't have to do this alone anymore. You know exactly what I need. You know exactly what I need. I'm gonna lay my burdens down. I'm gonna lay my burdens down, 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 down. Lay my burdens down. Give it all to you, Lord. I commit myself. I longing for you. I feeling so free. Infinity, my treasure. Love is beyond measure. I'll never stray. I love you. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Who's on? Say hello. Happy Saturday. We made it. It's the weekend. It's funny. I have two songs in the marketplace that have to do with weekends. I probably should promote them more because I have this one song that I did with Tasha called Friday Feeling. And then I have a song called It's the Weekend that I did with Bread and Water. They're actually my collaborators, Chris and Conrad. And so whenever Friday comes, I instantly think of those two songs because they have to do with the weekend. So if y'all like weekend songs, I have one called Friday Feeling. The hook is Friday Feeling. We got that Friday feeling. It's time to dance the night away. And then I have a song called The Weekend. It's the weekend, baby. It's the weekend, baby. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, baby. So, anywho's, how is everyone? How are you doing today? I am live again, and I think we're going to make this a Saturday evening affair. I may go live sometimes during the week. Just kind of depends on topics and what's going on and what I think you guys would want to hear. My name is LaShonda. I am a child of grace. I serve at the pleasure of Jesus Christ. And I am live on this channel. I have another channel called Ever Journey Media, and which features faith and Christian-centered content, as well as family-based content. So if you are interested, you can head over there and head back over here. It's a pleasure to be able to connect with you this way. I'm already looking at my setup and it looks like it is kind of crooked. So I'm gonna try to Okay. If you are new to my channel, welcome. You are more than welcome to stick around and see what we're talking about today. I just really started recently going live. And so I know it's going to take some time to really build up momentum and pull in the audiences that really will resonate with what I'm saying on these lives. So if you're in the room, welcome. But I do have a few housekeeping rules that I probably will be going over for as long as it takes until people get it right. Because what I've been noticing is sometimes people behave in these lives and sometimes they don't. So if you see me doing this, which I'm not doing right now, but if you see me doing this, it simply just means that you were misbehaving. You either got put in timeout or you were removed from the live altogether. So just to keep things rolling and keep everyone respectful, my only ask is that people leave comments that are respectful and relevant to the live. If you're just popping in to say hello, that's great too, but I really want to designate this space for people that actually want to be here. So now that I got that out of the way, the housekeeping stuff, I was playing at the start of the live one of my original songs called Burdens Down. I want to reset the room a little bit if that's okay with you guys. I'm going to play it again because I want to set the atmosphere for this space and our time together. 1 second. And y'all are a little quiet, so if you don't mind, tell me where you're from or who you are. I would love to get to know you better. Let's see. Where did I put that? It is in my folder. It is really, really hot right now. I'm trying to get used to this summer heat and I just haven't seemed to catch on to why it's so hot. I had one day where my car said it was 109 degrees, which I don't think I've ever seen that before in my car. So that was a first. Yeah, I was kind of like, it's feeling a little, it's giving me a little desert Dubai kind of vibes. And, you know, I'm in a state where it shouldn't be that hot, but it is. Let's see. This is the a cappella version. Pull up my notes for what I want to talk about. Turn it on.
Fair dreams from life, but your love never wavered. Your picture on the wall, it summoned me to call and consecrate my prayers to you. Glory, glory, hallelujah. You said you'd take this heavy load off me, and I don't have to do this alone anymore. You know exactly what I need. You know exactly what I need. I'm gonna lay my burdens down. I'm gonna lay my burdens down, down, down. I'm gonna lay my burdens down and give it all to you, Lord. Your wisdom, peace, seek comfort when I'm weak. Set my eyes on you, Lord. No need to search to find. Your love is so divine. Say it and it shall
that was Burdens Down. I think I always try to, when I listen to my music, I try to remember. Sometimes I don't even remember like where I was, what I was doing when I was writing the lyrics and creating the melodies. But I think this one was probably during a season when I was probably going through something and was just really reflecting on Jesus's love and how he came to atone our sins and died for us. And so it's just a reminder that it is not for me to carry the things that, you know, maybe weighing heavy, to just give it to him, let him carry our burdens. So hope you enjoyed the original. I think this is a good way to, one, set the mood of the room and the atmosphere, but two, showcase my songwriting abilities and my ability to, you know, create melodies and stuff. So thank you for joining. Again, I'm LaShonda. This is a space for us to really just connect. No formalities here. It's just really like relax conversation. And I believe when I started my very first video, one of the things that I said was, this is just going to be a continuation of conversations. You know, we'll start here and then we'll just have a series of chats about different things. I'm open to ideas because I don't want to necessarily dictate what every live is going to be about. So feel free to chime in, give me your feedback, suggestions, topic ideas. I'll put out polls because I think that would be a great way for us to, you know, just to have it to be a little more collaborative and give you guys an opportunity to chat about things. I don't profess to be an expert. I'm not a clinician. These are my disclaimers. I'm not a clinician. I'm not a certified life coach. I'm just not just. I am a Christian woman who's lived a little, who's had a very extensive career. I've just lived a little. So there are certain observations that I make and things that I, you know, may have gone through that I want to impart. And I feel like YouTube is just one of those spaces. It's an excellent opportunity for us collectively to connect with one another. So with that being said, I am going to go get into what I wanted to talk about today. And I preface this by stating the things that I will talk about, I'm going to use the legality term allegedly because I don't want to put anybody on Front Street. That's not really the purpose of this live. The purpose of this live is to bring context to a thing, but not necessarily identifying individuals because that's not really relevant to the story. With that being said, the topic for today is, and I have notes because I want to make sure I cover everything. I still feel like, guys, does my focus look straight? Because I have this thing where my phone looks like it's slightly tilted. And I don't want to fool around with it too much, and then I end up getting off live like I was before. Is that better? I don't know. Hold on. I think I'm straight. We straight. Okay. So, hold on for 1 second, y'all. Okay, so before I get into it, I want you to picture something. I want to see how many people on the live are visual, creative minds. So I want you to picture something. I want you to picture, imagine walking into a room, conference room, ballroom, not ballroom, that's too big. Let's say conference room style, like executive conference room style. And in this room, there are 100 balloons. So every balloon in this room represents something. And I'm going to break it down which each balloon represents. So imagine they're different colors and someone had a black Sharpie and just wrote distinctive things on these balloons. So on the balloons, we have morale, confidence, trust, creativity, a person's willingness to speak, a person's willingness to contribute. Now, these are all written on the balloons. A person's belief that what they bring into the room has value. Y'all got that so far? We're in a room, conference room style. I'll give you even some more context to this room. Let's picture the room. There's maybe 8 tables in this room in a U shape. So it's a pretty big room. And at each table, there's probably about 6 people. So y'all do the math. 8 times 6. So in this room, there's only one rule. For those balloons to remain inflated, the people in the room have to treat one another with kindness and respect. Kindness and respect. So every time, so basically for every time someone is unnecessarily demeaned, one of the balloons gets popped. If there's a situation where someone's being embarrassed in front of the room or embarrassed in front of their peers, balloon gets popped. Every time someone is shushed, a balloon gets popped. If they're dismissed, if they're belittled, if they're treated as if they're incapable of doing a task, balloon gets popped. So why is she giving us this picture? Well, I was in an environment, and I was in this environment, and this was a while ago, so no, and I will preface this by saying allegedly. So I was in an environment where I spent 4 days observing an environment like this. The balloons weren't there, but the people were there. Who's that? Mark? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. But not at this time though. If you want to stay, you can. If you want to stick around a little later, I will before I end it. Thank you for joining. So, and if I had walked into that room on day 1 and those balloons were there, I'm going to set the stage for you. If I had walked in and the balloons were there, probably 75% of them probably would have got popped. Because that was my observation, was that those pleasantries and the respect and kindness wasn't being observed in that environment. So I had to think about that, and I was like, I wanted to come live and talk about this very subject, because what I'm noticing more and more is that, and particularly in settings where there are meetings or workplace settings, people aren't being kind and respectful. People aren't being kind and respectful. I'm gonna say it one more time. People are not being kind and respectful. Okay. So I'm in this space for 4 days, and I'm noticing from top down, um, people are just exuding all kinds of unnecessary harshness, not being kind, not being respectful. And I thought this would be a good forum to just talk about, like, why is that, and what can we do about it? Like, I've been in situations where, and here's the thing, I understand business is business. So I'm speaking probably more so to workplace settings. Let's kind of make it a little more granular to workplace settings. Sometimes somebody has to hear something they don't want to hear. I get that. Um, Sometimes people may, for whatever reason, miss the mark. Maybe they didn't hear something they needed to hear. Maybe they didn't complete a task in the way that they should have completed it. I think, though, respect is paramount and is at the top of the chain there. And what I observed in this environment a while back was that respect just went out the window. um, it really just went out the window. So when I think about things that are going on in the world, my first inclination is to go back to scripture foundation. Like, what does the Bible say about, just, from the lens of being kind? And I did find in the Amplified Bible, Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1. I actually found a couple, so I'm going to read the ones that I found. Proverbs 15, verse 1 reads, "A soft and gentle and thoughtful answer turns away wrath, but harsh and painful and careless words stir up anger." Hi there. Thank you for joining. Let's see. Because a lot of what we're going to discuss today, basically comes down to how we think about words and how they land when people receive them. So that's kind of the gist of where I'm going with this. And then I found in Ephesians 4, which chapter was that though? Because I want to make sure I give you the... Hold on, y'all. And if I can't find that particular verse, I'm going to feature it in the comments afterwards. Because I wrote that one down and I didn't write the verse for it. Where is it? Figure out where it is. So I need just hold on. Teach us how to speak. Okay, this was the note that I had. And now I promise in the comments I will include the actual verse. But the notes I had was in reference to Ephesians 4, which also teaches that our speech should build people up according to the need and to the occasion. So if anyone is a biblical scholar and can quickly dial up which verse that is, it's in chapter 4. Feel free to put it in the chat, or after the live, put it in the comments. But I will find the verse and put it in the comments for you guys. So that doesn't mean that every interaction that you have with someone is going to feel great. It just simply means that even in difficult communication with people, there is still a necessity to be kind and respectful. Just saying. So what I did for this live is I just broke down several points that I wanted to cover, and feel free on this one to chime in if I say something that resonates, because we're all working professionals. We've all been in settings that and maybe not. Maybe this is foreign. What I'm about to say is foreign to you because you're in an environment where everyone treats everyone with respect and dignity. So this may not apply to your industry, and it doesn't really apply to. How can I say? I think they're just really certain individuals that could use a reset and a refresher, and maybe just fill in some knowledge gaps. But some people's personalities, let's face it, are pretty much set in stone. So are we going to save everybody and reform everyone's personalities? No, that's not what this is about. It's really just bringing light and attention to something that, could be better. I'll just say it that way. So I have points, and I'm just going to go through each point. And like I said, if you have comments, you want to chime in as I go through the points, feel free. So point number 1, pay attention to how people feel after you speak. I'm speaking in the context of workplace, but this can apply really anywhere. This could be at church. This could be at a conference. This could be at a reunion. This could be with your family, just in general, your interpersonal friend groups. It could apply in any setting. So I preface by saying that. So one of the things I noticed during the 4 days was not simply what people were saying. What I like to do when I enter rooms, especially rooms that I haven't been in before, I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I like to really be an observer. I listen, I take notes, but really for me, it's an opportunity to collect data because I need to understand the environment around me so I know how to respond in kind and appropriately in certain spaces and places. So the thing I started watching was what happened to people after something was said to them. So, and really that told me more. That if someone were to say, for example, offer a thought, in some instances that thought was dismissed. And it was really disheartening to see that. I was like, I wonder if that person, I often, my empathy switch automatically comes on, and I automatically think to myself, okay, for the person who's being dismissed, what are they thinking about? I always try to, put myself in their shoes. And you could see in this instance, the person kind of retreated. They didn't say anything, but they kind of, if you had an opportunity to shrink yourself, I could, in my mind, visualize this person shrinking themselves. Some people became quiet, while some appeared to have learned how to tune everything out. These were observations I was making as I was taking notes. While others physically seemed to shrink in their seats. So I said that. And I remember thinking, I was like, this room is communicating even when nobody is talking. So picture in this room, the leaders were talking, and it was really, I think, initially meant to be more of a collaborative environment. But what ended up happening was the oxygen in the room started to diminish, and the people, this collaborative environment started to become very singular, and only one person was talking. So I remember thinking, is this something leaders should be paying attention to? Like, do they have an awareness that this is what's happening? um, and what I noticed was, there were some people who still participated, but then there were people who just didn't want to ask questions. They didn't want to bring up their ideas at all. So, audience question. And this is for the folks on the live, and this is for the folks who will play this back tomorrow, next week, a year from now, preferably. So here's an audience question for you guys, and I'll give you a minute or two to reflect on it. Have you ever worked somewhere where you eventually stopped offering ideas because of how people responded to you? If you are on this live with me right now and you want to chime in, I would love to hear from you if any of what I'm saying resonates. And I'll read it again. Have you ever worked somewhere where you eventually stopped offering ideas because of how people responded to you? This is a question for me to reflect on too. I can say that I have. And in those moments, it's really, I think, more about self-preservation in those moments, because if the person that you're offering ideas to isn't receptive to hear them anyway, then it's kind of like, okay, well, why bother? Because I've been in situations where I've either offered it up anyway for it to be ignored, or I just didn't offer it at all, if I'm being honest. So I would love to hear from you guys if you have a thought about it as well, because it's something that's prevalent. It's not one of those things where I don't know. I feel like it probably goes on more often than not. No? Any takers? Any comments? And for those who may be watching this, like I said, days from now, a week from now, I check comments pretty much every day. So if you do leave a comment, I will respond to it. I just realized I did not plug up my battery. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Because I don't want my notes to just disappear. And if you stick around to the end, I will sing. Live on YouTube. I had to plug up my laptop because it was about to go dead. Okay, point number 2. Let's move on. Adults should be spoken to as adults. So in this environment, what I observed, I heard adults in ways that reminded me of somebody correcting a young child. And it was a little baffling, because I was like, oh Lord, like, why would someone think that was okay? At different moments, I heard adults speaking to other adults in ways that reminded me of someone correcting a child. Sit down. Put that away. Stop doing that. Shh. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? True story, y'all. Allegedly. And so I kept thinking to myself, I was like, oh my gosh, these are grown people. Like, what is happening? These are employees. These are people that have families. These are people that have kids. These are people that have life experiences and have a mind of their own. So I was shrinking in my chair, one, for myself, but I was also shrinking in my chair because I was like, this cannot be culture. This cannot be norm. And I am prayerfully asking the YouTube community, is this common? Is this a one-off that I experience, or is this common? My prayer is that it is not common. I saw a heart. I appreciate that. Look, that lets me know that y'all are with me. I appreciate that. Um, so yeah, I was just a little taken aback by that, because I was like, excuse me, I was like, there's a difference between giving direction to somebody and infantilizing them. So my first thought was like, I was looking around like, well, where the kids at? Where the kids at in here? Where the kids, Jesus? I ain't see no kids. All I saw was grown people. So I was like, okay. Um, so my thought was, what could have been said instead of that? Right? God bless you too. God bless you too. Thank you. So my thought was like, what could have been said instead of that? Anyone have any comments? Please feel free. This is participatory. I don't want to feel like I'm doing all the talking. Although I know people will look back on these lives days from now and they'll be like, "Oh, this was very informative." But I want to hear from y'all too. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. I think, and I wrote some notes. I said, I need everybody focused here. Could have been an alternative, or the task still needs to get accomplished, guys. Let's reset the room just to bring some dignity into the room. So I don't know. I just have this thing, before you correct someone publicly, I think the thing that you should be mindful of and ask yourself is whether the correction needs to be public at all. I'm going to say that again. Before correcting anybody, and I'm speaking strictly from a Christian lens, as a woman, as a businesswoman, as a woman that has been in, an industry for an extensive amount of time. Before correcting someone publicly, the thing someone I think needs to ask themselves is, does the correction need to be public at all? Because in most instances, it does not. Okay. In those instances, just take the person to the side, handle it privately. That would be my antidote for that. So let's move on. If anyone has any questions, comments, I would love to hear from you. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I don't bite. I know people probably pop in, pop out. Okay, point number 3. Moving on. Point number 3. Position does not give anyone permission to humiliate people. So this is in the context of being kind and respectful in the workplace. Titles, your title, it matters in terms of organizational structures. I definitely can attest to that. Being someone on the receiving end of that, I'm aware of that. I think, titles, for the most part, it enables, individuals to be able to be empowered to make decisions, to make personnel changes, to bring on new people and all that good stuff. So I respect structure. I get it. I think my point for this live, though, is authority and superiority is two different things. They're not the same. They're not synonymous. A title, like I said, it gives an individual responsibility, but what it doesn't do is it doesn't give you ownership over another adult's dignity. And in this environment, allegedly, I observed an individual being chastised in public, and the young lady was truly diminished in that moment. And I think, this applies, like I said, beyond just people that have director titles or manager titles or team lead titles. It goes beyond that. I'm using the hierarchy structure because typically what happens is that dynamic happens more often, let's face it, from the superior to subordinate versus the subordinate up. So that's why I'm bringing it up in that context. So I watched this communication style travel in this environment through all channels, from the top, middle, and to the bottom. So I just want to make that distinction that it's not always going to be the director or the CEO or it's not always going to be someone at the top level. People can model this and experience it at all levels. Dismissiveness. I think if dismissiveness becomes normal at one level, eventually someone else is going to start doing it too. And then somebody below them will start doing it. And eventually everybody is doing it, So my audience question for this point is this. And again, for those who will join later, you may chime in as well. What communication habits have you seen spread through an organization simply because leadership modeled them? I'll read that again. What communication habits have you seen spread through an organization simply because leadership modeled them? Food for thought. All right, let's move on to point number 4. Micromanagement often communicates mistrust. So something else stood out to me in this environment. There was a lot of monitoring, a lot. And, for me, I'm used to being in environments where there's a lot of autonomy. So this would have been like the polar opposite of what an environment that I'd been used to. A lot of control. There was a lot of watching. There was, it was just a lot of control. So I know that organizations have their, I would say their structural norms, and I get that. I'm aware of that. But I do think that sometimes there are policies that exist simply because something happened before something happened in the past. So I get, I'm not negating history or the fact that there may be instances where you have to, but if that is like the cultural norm for everyone, I can see how over time that can start to erode just how people communicate with one another. So what else did I want to say about that? I think too, when people feel like their every move has to be watched and, everything has to be synchronized and validated, if you will, it just really starts to, I think, erode people's confidence in how they relate to one another. So what else did I want to say about that? I think the feeling that I had being in that space was that there was very little room to think independently. And that was very jarring to me, especially being someone who's, a thinker, likes to present ideas and just likes to talk, period. When you have like a nice, healthy what analogy could I use for this one? You're outside, you're lounging, you're grilling your marshmallows, and then somebody just comes and just puts a bucket of water on the fire. It's like, well, it's jarring, right? Because you were sitting there having a good time, and then all of a sudden, fire is distinguished. It's extinguished, not distinguished. So yeah, that's my thought about that. Point number 5, moving right along. Correction does not require an audience. Now this one's important, guys, because I'm of the thought process. If someone makes a mistake, just address the mistake. I don't know. I feel like, why does everyone, and this I've been an observer of this for a very, very long time. So I know this goes on way more than it should. If someone makes a mistake, just address the mistake. Why does everybody have to hear the correction? Unless it's one of those things where you have observed multiple people creating this error or doing this mistake, then I could see addressing it more on a broader scale. But if it clearly is not the entire team and it's just one person, let's normalize addressing it to one person. Can we do that? Is that too much to ask? I really would like to see that be the norm and not the exception. And just to normalize, like saying, hey, here's what happened. This is what I observed. And don't do it again, you know? And not saying it in those exact words, but pointing out the behavior or pointing out the correction and letting that individual have an opportunity to respond and move on. Because that way, does that make sense what I'm saying? I see the smiley faces. I really appreciate it. Like, send me some hearts if you guys, if what I'm saying is resonating. That lets me know that you're with me. Because when you do that, I think it lets the person walking away with the new information. They know what to anticipate. They know what is expected. And, you know, some things just don't need a group setting. Let's see. Next point, which is one of the most important points of the night. Watch your tone. We talk a lot about words, but tone matters. Tone matters. Because you can say words that look perfectly acceptable on paper and still deliver them with contempt. People know when they are being talked down to. So just because you laugh or you preface it by saying this is a joke, or, you know, because I've been in settings where humor has been disguised as being unkind and, you know, at someone else's expense. Just because you preface and say it with those words doesn't mean it doesn't have an impact on someone. So, and I've been in rooms where the person will laugh along with it, but it really was a jarring experience for them. So, I don't know. I think, especially in settings where you're the leader, I think a lot of people fall into what is called group thinking, And so if the leader is the one telling the jokes, the demeaning jokes, a lot of times the subordinates in the room, they'll laugh because they don't really want to make waves or create a situation where they're being singled out. So I would say to a leader that's listening to this, I don't know who this will resonate with in the future, but just be mindful of that. Like, your words carry weight. Your words are powerful. Your words should speak life and should be inspiring to others. And when they're not, I think what it does is over time, it really diminishes the quality of performance, because people over time, they'll shrink. They'll not tell you things. They will find reasons to not interface with you. Or if they make a mistake, they'll be afraid to tell you they made a mistake. So I just feel like this is an opportunity. And I'm saying this from the perch of being the leader, and I'm saying it from the perch of being the subordinate. I've been on both sides. So I'm not saying anything that I haven't done or put to practice myself. So, um, what else do we have that I want to cover? Do not use somebody's mistake, personality, question, or uncertainty as entertainment for the room. I'm going to read that again. Do not use somebody's mistake, personality, question, or uncertainty as entertainment for the room. That's my leadership solution. Let's see. Did I cover everything for that one? I think I did. Let's move on. Next point, kindness and accountability belong in the same room. So I want to stay here for a minute, because I do not want anybody leaving this conversation thinking I'm saying managers need to tiptoe around their employees and subordinates. That's not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. I understand that people need feedback. I understand that businesses need to set specific standards. I get all that. I know that people need to show up. They need to be on time. They need to have a level of technical accuracy in how they perform. I get all that too. I'm just simply saying that leadership has a responsibility to address it when those things are not happening. Hold on, because I think I read my note wrong. I think the point of the overarching point that I'm making is that there is a way to address individuals. And I think there may have been, just thinking back to that particular setting and other settings that I've been in the past, I think a lot of it may be cultural norms, what people are used to in their private settings, and they bring that into the workplace. I think all of those things kind of come hand in hand in how people present kindness. But my point is, I think kindness and accountability belong in the same space. So if we can normalize, bless you, kind sir. Thank you for joining too. Yay. If we can normalize kindness and accountability in the same space, that really is the point. I think people need feedback, but they need it in a way that is going to make them perform better. If you're cha-cha at every turn, and I've been in situations where I've had to deliver feedback that may not have been it was direct. I'll say that. It was direct, but I didn't take the kindness out of the room. I had to deliver bad news. And so in having delivered bad news to someone, you know, it's not fun, but it still can be done in a way where people have their dignity and they feel respected. And that's really the point I'm making. So I'm going through my notes here and I'm making sure that I cover all the things I want to say because allegedly, I was in a space for 4 days where people were very unkind, very disrespectful, unnecessarily harsh. And it almost made me feel like, I was like, God, did you put me in this space on purpose? Because you knew I was only going to be in this space for 4 days. I was only in this space for 4 days. But I almost felt like God intentionally put me in this space so I could speak to you about it today. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I was like, okay, there must be a reason why I'm in this room. And so my next observation was, I'm observing people being unkind to each other. Eventually, the unkindness is probably going to come my way. Ah! And it did. Oh, it's late there. Well, I appreciate you joining, kind sir. I really do. I appreciate that. I've been on for almost an hour now. So I've been talking about kindness and showing respect at the base human level. I was in an environment for 4 days where the folks in the room, and this was director, co-managers, subordinates, and everyone in this space was just being unkind and unnecessarily harsh. And so I was like, okay, I'm in this room. Eventually, this is probably going to come and hit my way too. And it did. And so I was like, how am I going to respond to this? I'm the type of person, I'm always kind. I'm always respectful for the most part. I'm human. I may have had moments where I've been off the hook too, but I would say 95% of the time, especially in a professional environment, I'm going to be kind and respectful. So I have this woman talking to me, and she's talking to me as if I'm a toddler. She's talking to me as if she's scolding a child. And I was like, yes, that is correct, Shadows. Yes, absolutely. Kindness costs nothing. And speaking and being enlightened, that's the greatest gift you could ever have. And so I went into this space wanting to enlighten this group. I'm being very vague because I don't want to give too much information, allegedly. But my presence in this room was really to bring my gifts and talents and, contribute to this space with these individuals that I called professional people. But what I found was they had a cultural norm to be unkind. And they would just talk to each other any kind of way. And they were talking to me any kind of way. And I was like, and it was very jarring because I'm not used to people telling me, go sit down. Why are you looking at that? Focus on that. So I'm a Southern girl. So I'm looking around because at first I was like, Is she talking to me? She can't be talking to me because I don't talk to her. I've never talked to her that way. So, and so I'll give you like the deer in the headlight look. Excuse me? She said it again. And I said, is there a reason why you're speaking to me that way? And she didn't say anything. But this continued throughout during this 4-day period. So I had a decision to make. I said, I have some really hard, firm non-negotiables. My firm non-negotiable is respect. If I'm not being respected, I can't be in the space with you. And so it really reached a crescendo. And my husband later asked me, he was like, well, did you say anything back? No. You know what I did? I stood up, I collected my things, and I removed myself from the environment. Because what I know to be true in this season of life is peace is everything. If you don't have peace, you don't have much of anything. And so I walked away feeling like, I think these people pretty much could benefit from having some type of retreat. They could benefit from perhaps having someone else in the room to coach them. He says, I find it very interesting how some people can react like you're alienated to the planet. Exactly. When you are kind and you have an act of kindness, some people even judge that too. And I'm like, why are you judging? Exactly. And that was exactly what was going on in that space. I felt judged because I was simply there to perform a service, and I was unable to do that. So for me, I just removed myself from the space. And when I removed myself from the space, I did the respectful thing. I let them know that I've removed myself from the space and that I will never return again. That's essentially how that went. Never to return again. And take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Oh, don't understand English. Yo soy estudio español pequeño for me. I don't know Spanish very well, but I'm trying to learn it. But I thank you for joining my live anyway. Oh, bless your heart. Bless you. Bless you for joining me. I am so grateful. So grateful. So those were really the main points that I wanted to address. I took notes because I was like, I don't know, it really bothered me. It really bothered me that I was in this space, allegedly, and that these things were going on. Because I have a very extensive background in a particular sector. That's probably all I'm at liberty to say. But I have an extensive background in a particular sector that's very organized, structured. And so I'm not used to being in environments where people are not being respectful. Sometimes removing yourself is the best thing. It saves yourself. Exactly. Absolutely. I've had many of those situations. Even when you're kind, sometimes you have to remove yourself. And can I be honest, Shadows? The reason why I removed myself was because I could feel that internal emotional tick starting to happen because, listen, I know how to clap back, right? I know how to do that really well. But I didn't want to do that because I wanted to maintain my professionalism. Maintain my professionalism at all times was important to me. And so that's why I removed myself. I was like, okay, so the last straw was this woman in this room that I was in. We were getting ready to do an exercise. It was a simulation exercise. So think of this room as being a room full of people. They're seated at different tables, and we're doing team building exercises. So as part of the instructions, we weren't supposed to touch the materials on the table. And so I had picked up one of the blocks. I didn't hear the instruction, don't pick up any of the materials. So I picked up the block. She looked at me and she said, now I'm grown. I got college graduate children grown. She looked at me and she was like, put that back on the table. And again, I was like, now I'm still holding it now. I still got it in my hand. She was like, put it down. I was like, are you talking to me? She said, yes, I'm talking to you. Put it on the table. I said, put it down. I said, okay, I'll put it down. God. Listen, I got up, collected my phone, got my books, and I skedaddled up on out of there. I ain't slammed no doors. I just quietly shut the door, went down the elevator, got in my car, cranked it up. He said, I hear you, your body's telling you how to move. Yes, exactly. Because I was like, if I don't get up, I don't know what I don't trust that I may not say something. So in order for me to not say whatever I'm thinking here, I was like, get up on out of there. Get up on out of there. They called me and they were like, allegedly, are you coming back? I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not doing that. Absolutely not. Look, she's like, I was like, nope. I said, because my non-negotiable is respect. And that's what I want to say to you guys. Your non-negotiable always has to be respect, kindness. Because if it's not, you'll just go into situations and environments and you'll just be all over the place, and people will be able to, like a rag doll, manipulate you and steer you in directions that you don't want to be in. He says, sometimes being calm, walking away is the best thing. And then you step out of the situation and breathe. It feels so much better. Yes. Because I had to, in less than 10 seconds, make a decision. Was I going to stay here or was I going to leave? And I immediately got up. My body, that's the thing, my body wouldn't even allow me to stay seated. So I got up and I removed myself. And as soon as I got outside and hit the air, yes, I could feel my body calming down, because I knew that I was being true to myself and that I wasn't just allowing someone to just treat me any kind of way. I have Southern parents, and so my mom has always drilled in us. She's always said this: do not allow people to just treat you any kind of way, because if you do, they will. It's de-escalating the situation. Yeah, and I think that's that's the godly thing to do, because what ends up happening is people will force you to come out of your character. And that's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to come out of character. I've always prided myself on being a professional woman. So if I'm in an environment that warrants, my participation, I want it in return. I want respect in return. So I was extremely disappointed that that situation happened, but I'm glad that it happened, because it allowed me to be in this space with you guys, to be able to, one, talk about it, and to serve as a teachable moment for other people, whether you are the person in leadership, whether you're directing someone to do a thing, whether you're, and it doesn't matter what industry you're into. Like, I've always pretty much been in business industries, but this can apply to any industry. Because how many times have we been in settings and you'll hear somebody barking orders at someone? Listen, you're not going to get the same results out of someone by barking at them or demeaning them. And I was the recipient of this situation, but I also was an observer, because I saw other people in the room having to deal with this as well. So I just removed myself. That is point blank period how I handled that. And I was proud of myself, because I could have stayed for an extra day or two, but I was like, nah, I'm good. Nope. You will never have the pleasure of hearing my voice or seeing my face again. You will never have that pleasure. You might see me on YouTube, but you will never have the pleasure of seeing my face or hearing my voice in a business setting again. And that was the end of that. And I gave them feedback, because I think also the thing to do too, if you ever find yourself in that situation, don't just leave the room and don't say anything. Leave the room and give feedback. Give feedback. Because you just might be the person who provokes change in that scenario. And my prayer, will there be change? I don't think so in this scenario, because it started at the top down. In order for that situation to change, you would have to gut that place out, and you would have to start from scratch. And that's pretty much the only way something like that is going to change. You would have to change pretty much your top layer, and perhaps your middle layer, and then bring in new people, because the subordinates were like that, the co-managers were like that, and the senior leadership was like that. So it's a good way to handle the situation if you don't feel comfortable in that space. Right. Exactly. You just have to leave, and that's okay. Exactly. Yep. And that's why I said I'm really, I don't like, tote my chest out like, of course I left. No, I had to make a calculation in that moment, real time. Was I going to stay somewhere and continue to be disrespected? And the answer was absolutely no. Absolutely no. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. I gave feedback. They were disappointed that I did decide to leave. But what can you say, And the feedback that I gave her was, I said, I get to decide. I said, the powerful thing that no one could ever take away from me is I get to decide which environment I stay in. not in those exact words, but along those lines. Like I get to choose the company that I keep. Um, and that's it. He said, I had a similar situation where I had to choose myself or a contract, but the people of that contract was making me feel uncomfortable. So I walked away and I didn't sign and I chose myself. Listen, I bow to you. I know this story about you and I bow to you for, and I'm so grateful that you're on with me now because I can say this to you that I bow to you for your bravery and choosing yourself because you could have probably made a different choice and you didn't. And so I humbly bow to you for that. You have my utmost respect for that. Um, and I'm sure it was not an easy decision. So you have my utmost respect. Utmost respect. Hat. Look, if I had a hat, I'd take it off. But my utmost respect, utmost, because they're tough decisions to make, and sometimes you have to make them very quickly. You might have a millisecond to make a decision. It may feel like a long time, but you may have literally seconds to make a calculation. Is this something that is going to feed my spirit? Or is this something that's going to tear me down? Is this something that's going to hurt or harm me? Is this something that is going to impact my peace of mind? And you have to make those calculations. I've had to make those calculations several times. Oh, bless you. Oh, oh, bless you. I'm reading your last comment. Bless you. Bless you. Peace of mind is priceless. And I've heard someone say to me once that, this isn't a dress rehearsal. You get one life, you get one body, you get one mind. And I don't know why I'm getting emotional. It's not my intention to be emotional. Let me center myself right now because I feel myself getting emotional. You have one life to live. It's your life to live. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Yeah. Because I've been in situations too where I had to act quickly. I didn't have a lot of time to make a really major life decision. Whew. And so that's where God comes in. I don't know who you pray to or what you believe, but that's where God and Jesus comes in, because when you have those moments, you have to consult with the Father. You have to consult to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And I had a very lengthy career. I'm not at liberty to go into a lot of detail about the industry that I was in, but I had a very lengthy career that spanned it over 30 years. And because I started really young. So I know a lot of people are like, you don't look like you was in the industry for 30. I started when I was 17. So I was in this industry for a very, very long time. And just started at the very bottom, student, high school, and I worked my way up. over a span of 30 years, over 30 years. But I had to make a decision very quickly to leave. And so I consulted with God. I was like, God, is this what you want me to do? And if this is not what you want me to do, I need you to make that clear. I need you to make that abundantly clear, because I need to, I need to make this decision quickly. And he told me to leave. And that's a fact. He told me that it was time to go. And so I did what was necessary to leave. And it was very difficult to leave. Because when you're used to, when you're used to doing a certain thing, making a certain amount, living a certain way, you're used to that, you really have to trust God in those moments. It's just one of them feelings, but when the people you're in front of, yes. Oh, yep. Yes. Yes. That resonates. I'm reading it silently because I don't want to read everything out loud, but that resonates. I totally resonate with that. And I believe that voice is God. That's your compass, that's your direction, that is the source of, giving you, that's your compass. And intuition, don't discount intuition. Like I think God gives us intuition to, or discernment, and people say intuition, I'm gonna say discernment, to know when something is for us and when it's not. And I was observing things around me real time, and I knew that something was amiss and that it was probably the best time for me to go. To be honest, I don't know English. I only respond with kindness. Oh, Angela, it's okay. It's all right. Look, you make me want to pull out a translator so I can communicate with you. Hold on. Hold on now. I got to get my translator out. Hey, girl. Hey. Hi, Ashley. Yes, look, we got a full house today. I've been on for 84 minutes so far, but we're talking heavy stuff about kindness and respect. And I was talking about the workplace and giving a alleged, I keep saying alleged, but y'all know what that means. Alleged situation that I was in for 4 days, and I had to remove myself because it was very toxic and unprofessional, very jarring. Let's see, how do I say thank you so much for joining my live today. It means the world to me, in Spanish. Now I'm going to attempt to say this in Spanish. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarme en mi transmisión en vivo hoy. Significa muchísimo para mí. I hope that I said that right and I didn't butcher that. Bless you. He said, this is enlightenment. Bless you. Bless you. Really, the focus of the conversation was giving anecdotal stories about being kind. And I kind of got a little personal because I was talking about how I've had to leave situations that were not healthy for me. And, let's face it, if I had it my way, I would have stayed in my industry probably for another 6 or 7 years easily, because I loved it. It was the best work environment. I had the best management leadership staff. I was really enjoying what I was doing. And I would have to say, out of the 33 years that I spent, building myself up in this industry, that was the pinnacle, and that was the best out of all of those years. And so it was extremely difficult to leave that, because I was like, God, are you sure? Because all cylinders were operating as they should, but it was time to go because there were other things happening. And God was like, LaShonda, it's time to leave. You can no longer stay here. It's time to go. And you can do one of two things when you're faced with that. You can stay. You can stay. You don't have to leave. You can stay. But guess what happens? Then you have to deal with the repercussions of staying. Because when the Lord tells you to leave and you stay anyway, then I believe you deal with the repercussions. So I'm the type of person. I need confirmation. So I asked God, I said, God, if you want me to leave, how will I know for sure that you want me to leave? And the Father is loving. He's kind. He showed it to me. He showed it to me in prayer. He showed me what I would be facing if I stayed. He showed me what I would have to do if I stayed. He showed it to me in prayer. Am I right? I don't swear, but it's the Bible right here. He showed it to me in prayer. So I was obedient, and I, as they said, I took the leap. Was it comfortable? No, it wasn't comfortable. It was very uncomfortable, because imagine going to your spouse and saying, hey, remember the lifestyle we had? God told me to leave this job. He told me to leave. Things are going to change. And so the Lord, because he knows I'm his child, that he got to like clock over the head with a brick. He got to make things plain and clear for me. I don't know about anybody else, but he has to make it plain and clear for me. So he showed me in prayer what I would have to deal with if I chose to stay anyway. Because we have a choice. We're not robots here on earth. We have he gives us free will. We're not just widgets and robots and, yes, Lord, I'll do what you say. No, it's not that at all. We are free moral agents, and we have agency to make choices and decisions for ourselves. And so I chose to trust God, and I left, right? Don't you know, 6 months after I left, I don't swear. All I can do is hold this up. Don't you know, 6 months after I left, the stuff that God showed me in prayer came to pass? Ain't making nothing up. I'm telling you the honest truth. Oh, bless you. Bless you. Yeah, I'm telling you the honest truth. 6 months later, what he showed me in prayer came to pass. And that was how I knew that I made the right decision. Yep. Mm-hmm. Agreed. Shadows, you hit it on the head. Yes. And that's the thing, you know when it's the right decision. You innately know. How do you know? For me, and y'all can chime in and tell me if this is how you know. Because he made a good point. Shadows made a good point. Right decisions. When I make a right decision, it doesn't bring me stress. It doesn't bring me anxiety. It doesn't keep me up at night. When I made a right decision, a God decision, it brings me peace. I'm able to make clear and thoughtful choices. And so that is how I knew I was following the direction that I was supposed to follow, because I wasn't stressed. I wasn't there. It almost felt like someone took a weight off of me. And I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to leave. This isn't so bad. Okay. And honestly, that's how I felt. But in the beginning, yeah, I had to I wrestled with it a little bit, because it was different. You know, when you spend that amount of time in a particular industry, I mean, I had my own ideas about how that was going to end. So, and when it didn't end the way that I thought, of course, I was like, okay, well, what's next? So it was an emotional time. I'm giving you the summarization version of it, but just know that it did have its peaks and valleys, and it wasn't just all like, roller coasters and cotton candy and turkey legs at the carnival. I had to, for the first time, just really sit in the fact that God had something different that He wanted me to do, and I was okay with that. Yes, absolutely, right there with you. Yes, 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 yes. This book. Listen, I don't profess to be a biblical scholar. I'm certainly not that. But what I do is, it's my place of refuge. If I have questions about anything that it pertains to my life, is in this book. Everything that pertains to our lives is in this book. And I have my other platform, Ever Journey Media. And the reason for that was, I was one of those people, I didn't really go to church every Sunday. I wasn't really a church girl per se. This is probably a good segue to talk a little bit about myself, to give you some background. I didn't go to church like that. I grew up Baptist, so I did have a church beginning, but in terms of like faithfully going to church, I wasn't one of those like 2 days a week churchgoers. I would go maybe Easter 4-6 times out of the year. And when I got to Atlanta, that's when things started really to shift and change, because I really was in a space and place where I wanted to invite God into my life. I wanted to have a relationship and learn more about Jesus Christ. And this is after being baptized. So I had been baptized and went through all of the ceremonial things, but I really didn't feel like I was really all in. So when I was in the suburbs of Atlanta, I went to a mega church out there, and my worship pastor at the time was Montel Jordan, the R&B singer, ex-R&B singer. Coincidentally, because that wasn't I kind of figured that out once I got there, not that was the reason why I got there. Would you say, Shadows? He said, I would say this: when the issue is on your level and they don't change. That part. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you should never be in a situation where you forcefully have to change your natural self. I just feel like, to me, that's the work of the enemy. When you're forcibly put in situations where you have to change, no, that ain't it. That is not it. So I agree with you 1000%. Um, so I'm at this church, Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. He's my worship pastor, and he was very instrumental in teaching me how to sing on the platform, making the distinction that when you're in church, it's not the stage, it's a platform. You're worshiping, you're singing praises to God, to the Lord. And so I went through that. And I don't know, over time, I just really wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn more. Yes, I know. Listen, I know exactly what you're saying. And the reason for that is because I have had a peripheral vantage point of the industry. So I know exactly what you're saying, to the T, to the T and the I dot. I know exactly what you're saying. Listen, that what can I say about that? As being someone who wasn't really in it. I thank the Lord for my mentor. He is gone to see Jesus prayerfully. But if it wasn't for him, I probably would have got sucked into that too. It's just the devil's playground for the most part. So I don't ever want to, and I think that's why God protected me from it. He didn't want me to have any parts of that. So I never, as close as I was to people that were because my connection to the industry was more, I knew songwriters. And so it became apparent to me. I was like, okay, if the songwriters that I know aren't allowing me to be in spaces and places to write professionally, then that's not what the Lord has in store for me. That's not where I'm supposed to be. And I had to get to a place where, and it wasn't hard to get to that place because I had a career. It wasn't like I was banking on making it, quote unquote. I wasn't banking on that at all. I simply was, making attempts to try to establish myself in it. But when that didn't happen, I was like, it is what it is with that. And I honestly feel like the mentorship that I had protected me from it, because one of the things that he made abundantly clear as a songwriter to me was, he was like, you don't want to be a song slave. That's his phrasing to me. He was like, I'm going to tell you some things, and I'm going to redirect you so that you don't become a song slave. He said, because if you become a song slave, you will never have ownership of your work. And so he was very instrumental in making sure. I'm talking about Joseph Jefferson. If anyone doesn't know him, you'll hear me talk about him from time to time, because he was a prolific songwriter during the Philly soul sound days, and wrote some, as he likes to call them, smashes. He used to use that term, smash. So he would say things like, LaShonda, you really know how to write some smashes. We just got to figure out how we're going to get you in the door. Because he was like, if you do it this way, this is the wrong way. If you do it this way, you have the best protection. I have friends in the industry who change. It's hard because they went from, really? You know what? I believe you 1000%. Oh yeah, I believe you. And there's probably reasons for that. Who knows what the reasons are? But I will say this. I mean, shoot, it sound like they weren't really friends to begin with, to be honest. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. If if people can just shut themselves off from you, that ain't your friend. But that's the other thing he told me. He was like, it's a very superficial industry. It's kind of fake. You really need to own your own stuff. And he was like, and he said, you write well enough to write by yourself. He said a lot of people are going to try to pull you in and they're going to want to write with you. And he was like, next thing you know, you're going to be the main writer and you're going to have like 8 people on one song. And I was like, I ain't trying to do that. I ain't trying to do that, Slim. Shoot. So listen, there's a reason for a season. And if that wasn't where I was supposed to be, that wasn't where I was supposed to be. And I was cool with that. But to your point, and you make an excellent point, listen, going back to my video about friends, one of the things I talked about was a true friend is going to be there for the smiles and the cries. A true friend is going to be there for the smiles and the cries. They're not going to leave because something got bumpy and rough. They're going to be there from the rooter to the tutor. It is tested, tried, and proven. That is a real friend. If they don't do that, dust your feet and keep moving. That's what I say to that. No, you spot on with that. Because they're probably trying to maintain what they have. You know, they probably have certain relationships that they want to try to maintain, and you know, and it is a catch. You know, I was in a situation where I had a job, I had a career, so my livelihood wasn't banking on, the next hit song or hit record. I already had, I had what I had. Ashley, you preaching now. She said, shut off, bye. Exactly. Even if they are, should they switch up? Hold on, I'm gonna read this one silently. I'm not gonna read it aloud. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. You never really can fully understand what people's motives are. But I will say this. Someone that rocks with you, they rock with you. Straight up, they rock with you from the rooter to the tutor. And that's how you know when it's real. I mean, that's the negative side, I think, of the whole industry concept. Because I was always told, this is what they always told me. They was like, girl, those relationships are fake. It's like, those people aren't real. Don't you go in there thinking everybody your friend. Look, I got my job. I got my 9 to 5, my every 2 week pay job. So it didn't make me no difference, but I can see how someone that is in that circle, has a really tough time discerning who is for them or not. Um, I'm sure it's extremely tough. It's extremely tough, and you probably find yourself really operating in a silo and not really having a lot of people around you. Should social media affect the ways or did you even know they wasn't? Oh, hold on, let me read that one again. Hold on. Wow. Diabolical. Wow. I mean, in theory, it shouldn't affect it. In theory, but again, everybody's motivations for why they do things are different. So it's kind of hard to get in somebody's thought process to know what they're thinking and why they move the way that they move, why they do what they do. It's hard because somebody could, on the surface, think you're a cool person and like you, but then they make these calculated decisions that may not be in favor of the person. You know what I mean? Like because they're trying to protect something. And it's really, me not being in that scenario, it's kind of hard for me to fully speak on it. But what do you think about it, Ashley? Yeah, because now it's a popularity contest. Like everybody has a platform. Everyone is being seen. You got to remember during the 80s and the 90s, I call those the mystique days because you didn't have social media platforms. You didn't know you didn't have all this information about celebrities and people in general. And now you do. So it's like are worried about they may be worried about endorsements, or they may be worried about relationships with this person and that person. If I'm friends with this person, is that going to affect my relationship with this person? I'm pretty sure there's all kinds of calculations that go on. But do you think the media side of the industry switched them up? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I do believe that to be the case because they have so much else going on. Maybe he said being full of themselves. I mean, yeah, I think so. Again, because it's just so prevalent now, and everyone is being seen everywhere. And everyone's worried about their reputation and how things look, and if I'm in relationships with this person, is this going to impact that person? But that's a good question. That's a very good question. Very good question. Yeah, I do. I do think that probably plays a lot. And they're all just superficial, probably just superficial relationships at this point. So it begs the question, what is real? What really is real? And how would you know that they're real and not fake? I don't think you would know. You would know over time, but how would you know? How would you really know? For me, this is just me. That's one of the reasons why my circle is really tiny. My circle is really, really small. What do you do when others aren't looking? Expound on that a little bit, Ashley. What do you mean? He said, love is real. What do you do when others aren't looking? Expound on that a little more so I understand what you mean by that. I get that first part. The first, love is real. True love is real. Yeah. But I just feel like everybody's probably at this point just very surface level. Those deep relationships that you would have with someone, those are the ones that take time, can take years. They have to be tested, tried, and proven over a certain period of time. And these are things that I've employed in my own life. That's why my circle is very, very small. I don't have a lot of, I really can count my friends on one hand. I don't have a lot of friends. And so the other thing too is like when people say, oh, she's my friend, he's my friend. Oh, that's my friend. Is it really your friend or is it really just an associate? Because those belong in different categories. What's real is how you behave when there are no other. Yes, bingo. Yes. Ashley said, no, like what's real is how you behave when there are no others or cameras around. Yes. Shadow says, yes, circle small, best way. When I say small, small. I've had, and it's funny because I've had, as in recent time, I've had individuals that have befriended me, that have wanted to be my friend, but they fell off. And I'm in a season where if you voluntarily fall off, you were meant to fall off. Because I'm the type of person, I will show myself to be friendly and I will be just that. But in one scenario, it was a situation where she just stopped calling one day. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know what that's about, you know. I don't know. I didn't do anything that I know of, you know. I don't know. Having massive circle, too many people in a big circle come. Listen, I don't. Yeah, I can't even speak to it because it's like I wouldn't even want a big circle. So yes, you are on the money with that. Not everything is about having a massive circle, too. Many people in big circles come to show their true colors. Yep. Because think about it. Everybody's motives are going to be different. If your circle is really big, that means there's more room for people to have differing motives. So why do you want to be in my intimate space like that? You know, that's the first question I'm going to ask is like, why are you here? Is this supposed, because I think in most instances, it probably should just be a business, either a business relationship. This is the category I put people in. Friend, associate, comrade, friend, confidant. Associate, comrade, friend, confidant. That's it. That's it. I don't even have anybody in the comrade category. Mainly for me, it's associates, my small circle of friends, and I have 2 confidants. That's it. That's it. That's all. And I think I heard someone say if you have at least 2 confidants, consider yourself blessed. Because that's all you need. If you have a community of people around you, it leaves room for snakes. She says, I have family. Yep. That's all you need. You don't need all of that. Because then I'm going to start questioning, why are you here? Why are you here? And in this season of life, I'm really going to question that because I'm older and I don't need that. I don't require that. Um, I just don't. Some people do. And I feel like, I don't know. I just remember during the days when like a certain TV show was on. I won't say the name, but there was a certain TV show on, and they would feature all of the beautiful mansions and all the cars. And one of the commonalities that I used to see when I would watch those was they would always have a whole bunch of people in the house with them. And I would often think to myself, who is all these people, Craig? Who is all these people? Why y'all got all these people in your house? She's like, I stepped away from social media because I was receiving comments that made no sense at all. Listen, Angela, I'm with you on that. I Not as much anymore, but I used to get spammed a lot, a lot. So I can definitely agree with you. Less is more. Look, you don't need all of that. Shadow says, snakes, yes, I know all too well about that. And acts of kindness of yourself taken for granted and used. Yep, I have that t-shirt. Yeah, because listen, not everybody is for you, man. People say they're for you and they're not. And the best way to really know that somebody is for you is when you're going through something. Um, do people call? Do people text? Do people, want to console or pray with you or provide information? And those are the times when you really know when someone's rocking with you is when you're going through something. Unfortunately, aside from that, that's what I'm saying. Most of those people, they're just what they call them? Hanger-ons. Hanger-ons. We have to know how to choose the right people as well. Can I give you some advice, some biblical wisdom? Um, I ask God. Is this somebody that you want me to connect with? And I didn't always used to do that, but here recently, when I started doing that, he'll let you know. No, that's not somebody you should, attach yourself to. No, and you'll know, because we're in a space and a place where you don't have a lot of time. I tell people, and I don't say this to sound morbid. I tell people I have more years behind me than I have ahead of me. So if I have more years behind me than ahead of me, I have to protect my peace. I have to be intentional about the people that I invite in my space and I share time with. I have to be intentional about that. And that is the main reason why I left that space that I told y'all about earlier. Love Goddess, she said, we have to, okay, I read that one. She said, the signs will show. The signs will show. Yep. Shadows, so real. And so those people I remove myself from doing so made me have a whole new place of fresh air. Aw. Yeah. I get that. Bless you. Bless you. You have my utmost respect. Utmost. Please know that you have my utmost respect. And I know it was probably tough. Probably wasn't easy. It never is. Because you have a history. You have a history with these people. You like them in some instances. You have shared history. You've done things together. You know what I mean? So I can't imagine that it was easy. I can't imagine that it was, because I've been there. And you have to You have to trust that God has something better on the other side. You have to know and trust and innately know that, regardless of what it looks like on the surface and what's going on around you, because it's not going to be a smooth transition in a lot of instances. It's probably going to be tough and bumpy and rocky, and you may have moments where you miss them. But you have to do what you have to do. Yeah. Yeah. It's a gut instinct. Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this. Are you at peace? Do you feel peace about it? Because that's the main thing. As long as you feel peace, that's all that matters. Nothing else matters. Nothing. And that's the truth. That's the truth. As long as you have peace. Angela says, and those accounts were left in someone else's hands. I let another person use them. Sometimes you don't truly want to leave because you grow fond of the people you met there. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think we can all relate to that. I've certainly been in spaces and places where I've had to tell people it's time to go. And sometimes you don't get an opportunity to tell them it's time to go. You just have to leave. And you're better off for it. I don't feel the unknown. Yes. Yep. Yes. Yes. Amen. Yes. Yes. I'm so pleased. Yeah. And that's the thing, as long as it brings you peace and things are clear, that's all that matters. Listen, everything else will work itself out. Everything else will work itself out. I promise. And that's the truth. Can I have a blueberry? Who is that? Talking about blueberries. Blueberries are good for you though. Yes, I'm so happy that you did not sign that. So happy. I remember when you said it on one of your platforms, and I thought to myself, I was like, oh, so happy. So happy. Yeah. So happy. Cause it ain't no telling where that could have went. She put the blueberries on there. She said, I usually lead with faith, but I tend to get a little weary. Listen, it's the faith walk, and I'm not telling y'all because I've mastered it. I am a work in progress. That's why I have on my other platform, I have a series called Faithful Daily Steps, where I take scripture, I break it down in very bite-sized, easy to understand, digestible ways, and I use that as my faith guide. That's my assignment from the Lord, is to provide that platform for people to operate in their faith, because it's a daily work in progress for me too. I had moments where I slip, and I have to remember, like, girl, you're not on this island by yourself. You have a higher power that leads you. So like I said, I don't profess to be a biblical scholar, but I am learning, I am reading, I am being enlightened by the Holy Spirit's words. And it really has transformed my life. And I'm so grateful to be in this space with you right now, to just even to be able to share. Like I know that people believe and have different faith systems. And so the one thing that the Lord impressed upon me was that it's not my job to convert anyone. What my job is to share the good news that I know about Jesus Christ and why he died for our sins, and the things that have gone on in my life that are evidence that God is real. So I've shared those stories on previous lives, but I would say the abridged version is, I've had a lot of prophetic things go on around me where, um, it is clear and evident that God is real. Yes, it is, all day long. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Sis, why did somebody say that? Do we really know what he looked like? We don't really know what he looked like. So this is my answer to that. My answer to that, Daddy Blatt, is we don't have any photographic, even though I have a depiction of what I believe he looks like on my t-shirt, which I made, by the way, soft plug. Um, we don't really know what he looked like. So I don't get too hung up in that. I know that Jesus was a Hebrew. And so when I make content that depicts what I believe Jesus looked like, I depict him as a Hebrew man, because that's what his history and the Bible dictates in terms of how he looked, the descriptions of how he looked. But we don't really know, and so I don't get caught up on European westernization depictions of what they believe he looked like. I know and believe what I believe, and I keep it moving. Sometimes I may doubt myself or not believe it, but what truly matters is being at peace with myself. And I know that sometimes letting go of a friend or loved ones is simply so very difficult. Agreed. Agreed. You hit the nail on the head. Listen, I've been in spaces and places where I've had to do that, and it's not fun. It's not probably one of the hardest things to do is to let people go. But I also believe that it can be to your detriment to keep them around. And so, especially when you're elevating and God is taking you to another place, another level, another assignment, you can't bring everybody with you. It would be to your detriment to bring everyone with you. And so sometimes you have to make the difficult decision to let people go. I've had to let people go. I've had to let family go. Um, it's, I'm not gonna get into that, but as someone had told me once, it's a fine line cut, and it'll make you bleed because it'll hurt that much. Yep, that's real talk. I hope I'm not saying too much. I try to draw the line and not be overly public about private things, because some things are just that. But I never forget, I had someone prophesy to me, and he said, "You're gonna have to make a fine line cut." And I didn't know what he meant by that, but when it happened, I sure felt it. Big question is, we come from somewhere. Something gave us eyes, ears, mouth, all body features. Yes. 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 Yeah. Listen, I I believe in a creator. I don't believe in the Big Bang and all that stuff. And I believe that God put those people on earth to do what they do and perform a service, but I don't believe that we were just some random creation. I don't believe that at all. I believe that God created us in his image. The eyes, the nose. We all have eyes, nose, mouth, chin, fingers, toes, hair. The Bible says that God knows how many hairs we have growing out of our head. And I find that very fascinating. So, yeah, that's what I believe. Will I know when I leave here and go on the other side one day? I pray that I will. I pray that I will live and go and see my creator. Yes, because everything is intricately designed. And it all fits together. If you think about everything in creation, it all connects together somehow. So how could that just be this random thing? Certainly not random. Yeah, we didn't just appear. Everything does. Everything. So that's what I believe. And I could share more in depth about that, but I'll save that maybe for another time, another live. But I've had what I would consider very, very real dreams that give me proof of that. And yeah, that's just what I believe. We'll see it one day. Look, I ain't trying to see it no time soon, no. I'm trying to be here at least until I'm, how long do I want to be here? Maybe 95. Yes. Look, I believe that too. I don't think it's, I don't know. I don't think it's just us. I think in his infinite wisdom, I think there could be it could be a lot of us's. So she said, tell the angels no. Definitely believe in that. Yeah, definitely believe in angelic ministry for sure. They are our protection. So those are just some of the things I believe. I am, my husband has a platform. He's a pastor. And so I tell the story about how didn't know I would one day marry a pastor, but someone that I didn't know told me so. So I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm, being enlightened in my faith walk, and just it's been a really cool journey to be on. She said, tell the angels no. I would look every time when I read lyrics that I know, my first instinct is to sing them, and I had to catch myself. I was like, LaShonda, you're gonna get a copyright strike. Don't sing that. But look, that's one of my jams. That's one of my jams. Yes, for sure, because that's the thing, we don't know. We don't know. And I'm never going to say, oh, it's just us. How do we know? We don't know. The universe is so vast. There's so many galaxies out there. Like, to me, it would be a little brazen to think it's just us. That's just my opinion. I could be speaking out of turn, but I agree. For sure. So, tell the angels no. My mind is playing the record. Listen, because it instantly took me back to when I purchased the CDs, because I had the green one, I had the white one, and I think I had an orange one. I had like 3 of them. But I would play it back to back, because that was the first time I had heard MJ's deep voice on 2000 watts. I was like, what? I was like, what? Is that really him? So I'm going to the liner notes. I'm trying to read the credits real quick. And I was like, what? That's really his voice that deep? Yeah, that was tripping me out. So it was that. I liked Butterflies and Tell the Angels No. It's Heaven Can Wait, but I used to say Tell the Angels No too. She says, I admire people who always stay positive and never give up. And yes, I admire creativity just like yours. Bless you. Speaking of God is truly one of the most beautiful things I strive to do because I know. Yes, yes, agreed. Listen, look, yes, that is definitely, listen, okay, shadows, okay. Faces, okay, I just want you to know that Faces, I know it's not my song, but it is my song. It's my song because I just took the time to learn the lyrics and would dance to it. And so I understand why you had to do what you did. But I was like, yo, that was the jam. I was like, that was the jam. And the other one, oh man, it was the other one that you did too. Shoot. It's in my head. It's the one that had like the disco bop to it. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it had like a disco bop to it. Listen, if I had some roller skates, I would have been in here jamming. Yes. Come on, Ashley. What was the name of it? What was the name of it though? Cause that was the jam too. I when I'm on the lives, I'm always like yelling in the background, and I'll be like, y'all better leave him alone. Cause he gonna get y'all. And you set him straight. You always set him straight. You don't let nothing slide. You don't give him no room to be cutting up. And I get back, I have my popcorn, and I just be like, all right, you gonna get them upset. Don't be, y'all cutting up today. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, what was the title for that one? Yes. Okay, but are they still on there though? I need those songs. Because I was starting to learn them. She said, look, right? Yup. Look, I went to go look for him one day, and them jokers was gone. He said, okay, I know you still have them, but did you take them down? I think you took them down. Oh, he said, don't worry. Okay. Yeah, those were my jams. But anyways, I had made a promise that I was going to sing before I end my live. I know I've been on here for a good bit. She said, send the CD, Shadow. Listen, Ashley and I, we are the true ones. We're the true ones. We appreciate good sounds. We'll just leave it there. We'll leave it there. We appreciate good sounds. And we know what's real and what's not. You feel me? Like I don't have to say. We are all on the same page. Oh, bless you. Look, it took me a long time though. Yeah, it took me about probably about 5 hours. And I wouldn't even consider this like a full head. This is kind of like, I don't know. And I sometimes I'll have it a little fuller than this. But I learned how to do it during the time we were locked down. because I couldn't get out. I didn't have anybody to do my hair. So I had to go on YouTube and figure out how to do it. I had never done it before, so I just figured it out. There he goes. I see you. I see you. Jeez. I'm not messing with you. he said they went poof real quick. I'm not messing with you. He's like, y'all ain't gonna enjoy these. I'm about to take these down. Hey, I respect it. Because sometimes, look, when people don't appreciate and they cutting up and they asking you, I don't want to use the word dumb, not dumb, but they're asking questions that don't make any sense. It's like, you have to do what you gotta do. He laughing. I mean, it's true, because people be cutting up. I had to kick some people out of my last live because they were putting they were just putting stuff that just didn't make any sense and asking me questions. One guy asked me, look, Shadows, one guy asked me to put my hand up on the screen. Ashley, you were on that live. He was like, can you put your hand on the screen? And I was like, sir, with all due respect, why would I do something like that? Look, because I was like, yeah, look, what'd you say, Ashley? Right, like, are you okay? Because I'm sitting there like, so you can like take a screenshot of my fingerprints? Like, did I fall off the turnip truck? What's happening, Jesus? What's going on? What's happening? You know, it was so jarring. It caught me off guard. So I was like, go back to my last live. You'll see it on there. I was like, sir, now why would I do that? Now why would I do that, sir? That doesn't make any sense, sir. I don't even know. I said, I don't even know why you would ask me that, sir. And I just kept it moving. So sometimes you just gotta let people go. Look, if you don't behave in the classroom, you got to be put out. So I didn't know, this is another thing, Shadows. I didn't know that there was a such thing as time out. Because I used to hear you say that all the time. You'd be like, well, got to put so-and-so in time out. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, it really is a timeout. Like, you really can put people in timeout. So I put somebody in timeout today because I was like, okay, why are you here? If you don't want to hear what I got to say, get out. Why are you here? Just doing the most. Doing the most. Why are you here? Right. Yes. He was like, put your hand up on the screen. Just hold it there. Can you put your hand on the screen? I'm sitting there like, what do you think you think I'm slow? I must be slow if I'm gonna do that. Like, I'm not doing that. Are you crazy? But anyway, what was I gonna say? This has been a really fun live. Like, the funnest. I really look right. Trying to clone Tanisha. I was gonna say clone Tyrone. Trying to clone Tanisha. You ain't about to clone me up in here. No indeed. Get somebody else to do it. Now look, now y'all seeing my silly side. Now I'm being silly. But I will say this, I really, really appreciate you guys. I know you could be doing anything in the world. And for you, young man, I know where you are is probably really super, super, super late. So I really appreciate you coming on. I really, really do. Oh my God. Right. Look, I was sitting there like, is he for real? What y'all trying to do? What's going I said, Jesus, what's going on? Take the wheel. Take the wheel, Jesus. So that is that, Jack. But I wanted to sing. And I was trying to think like, what am I gonna sing? Unspoken reverence, Holy Spirit, my soul is opening the door to all your truth and lights the way. Holy Spirit, you kiss me with your grace, and you reassure one day heaven and earth will be one. Everything shall bow, your will be done. Every fear will vanish, fade away for love. Glorious, your love so amazing. I feel so elated. The power of your glory. We're justified by faith. I'm trying to sing sitting down and Holy Spirit. I have a lot of joy right now. So when I feel like really joyful, sometimes my voice is like, no, we don't want to do that. We just want to feel joy. But I feel a lot of joy right now. Whew, I feel a lot of joy. I feel gratefulness. I feel gratefulness. God's promises, they are never empty. So I'm never giving up on his love. When things don't seem to fit, seeking you will find him. Knock on the door, he will always open. Trust his word. It's for you, it's for me, it's for everyone. I know there's no ceiling or limitation on what he can do. Think big, not small. Extraordinary prayers are not at all order. He will do anything. He will do anything with his phenomenal love. phenomenal love. Phenomenal. He's phenomenal. Phenomenal. He's phenomenal. Phenomenal love. Yeah. Phenomenal love. Love. And that's a great way to end this live. I don't know. I don't know why we've all connected this way, but I know it's for a reason. And I'm grateful. Yes. 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 Seth Riggs and MJ warm-up vocals have helped me tremendously. Yes. You know how I know? Because before I started doing them, when I would do a warm-up period, I couldn't get through them. I couldn't complete them. And when I started doing the Seth Riggs and MJ warm-ups, it was difficult in the beginning because I wasn't used to just, the progression of it. And it was intense. But I would say after day 4, I got it. I was able to do it. And what I noticed was my speaking voice was clearer. And that's how I knew that the lessons were impacting for me for the better, because it was so clear. God bless you. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you all, because if someone would have told me a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that I would be on YouTube talking to you and singing and doing all these things, I would have said, you got me mixed up with somebody else. Not because I didn't want to, not because I was shy, not because I didn't have the ability to do it. That wasn't the season I was in. And I was going through things, life changes, transitions, and it just wasn't something that was on my radar to do. And I would watch other creators and I would celebrate them and I would, participate, but I never saw myself on the other side of the camera. And Shadows, if I can give you credit as well, I remember being on one of your lives and you encouraging me to do it. I don't know if you remember telling me that, but you were one of the voices that encouraged me to do it. And so I just would watch and tune in on Saturdays, and I was like, okay, it can't be that hard. So I would just watch and I would just kind of take cues from what you were doing and how you were progressing through yours. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try. If one person shows up, cool. If 2 people show up, even better. If there's a community of folks on here, bravo. But I didn't do it with the intention that it was just gonna be this big thing. I was like, I'm just gonna do it and be obedient. Because I had Everjourney Media, but I wanted a personal space that would showcase my personality as a whole. So my love for art, my love for, travel, my love for, just different things. You have such a beautiful voice. Hee hee. She said hee hee. To be honest with you, it brought tears to my. Aw. Aw. All right, y'all. Don't have me on YouTube crying and stuff. That's not the intention. It's not the intention. But I do feel your spirit though. Aw. Did she put the hee hee in there though? She put the hee hee in there. Listen, okay, so if y'all don't know, I'm sure you probably already know by now. I am a fan. I got my fedora. I am a fan. Oh, right. That's right. That's right. Yep. Oh, bless you. Listen, cause I do believe that, and I did a video about that on my Ever Journey Media site where I was talking about music and the frequency of music and how some music it has a bad frequency and some music has a good frequency. And so I was using the plant test as an example to show, like, you have a plant in a room and it has peaceful, calming music, melodic music, it's gonna thrive. But if you have like really harsh, brash sounds in another room, that plant is gonna die. Oh, right. Oh, I remember that. Yep, I remember that. It was the alodum. Look, cause you had me being a student that day. I went and researched that. As soon as you said that, I researched it. I did the background and I researched it because I wanted to learn more about it and I wanted to hear their sounds. And so the best example of that was they don't really care about us. That's where I heard them at. Yeah, I did my listen. I listened, and I had a supervisor once tell me. He said, I ain't too much agree with him on some things, but I did agree with him on this one. He said, always be curious. And so when you said that, it immediately made me want to research because I wanted to understand like what made that sound unique in that region of the world. And I did my research. Yep. Do you like Superbook? What's Superbook? I don't know. I don't know what that is. Yeah. The drums on that, Chris, my collaborator, Chris Rosser, he's the drummer of the duo for them. So it's they're brothers, they're twins. And Chris is the one that did the drums for that song. Because I was very, very specific in my instructions for No Grown Boys Allowed. I wanted the drums. I actually wasn't, because I didn't know at the time to think alodum. But what I was thinking about was like college big band, college band drums. I wanted them to sound really drum heavy because it was a message song. So I wanted the drums to drive it. I had this idea that this song would be played, during halftime at universities and stuff. So I always try to, even though the song is independent, but I always try to think in terms of where could this song go? How could this song be used in the marketplace? So that was really my only instruction to them, was to make them drums sound like they belong, because I wanted to really drive it. I wanted to really drive it. Yeah, I wanted to really drive those drums. And at the end of the song, it's funny because I was doing vocalizations and I was trying to compete with the drums. I was like, yo, this song is so dope, but I don't wanted to end with just the drums. I want to be on it too. So I'm, now this is something that I was inspired by MJ on, and that was to not just sing song lyrics, but to utilize the voice in ways that produce different vocalizations. So if you listen back to that song at the very end, that's my voice trying to compete with what those drums were doing. Like I really wanted to end the song that way. Yeah. Yes. Very much so. Yes. Yes. People don't really, I don't think people really understand what that means. But what I know to be true is, and I'm at a point now where I can hear a record and it will start to repel me because of the frequency sounds. I can't even, it's like my ears don't even want to hear it because it's such a, it doesn't sound peaceful. Walking in. Do you know the song I'm Walking in Authority? Who sings that one? I don't know that one. Who's the artist for that one? I'll write it down and look it up. Cause I'm always seeking out new sounds. Can bring tears to your eyes. Yeah, for sure. There are certain tones. Think about songs that you've heard that evoke certain emotions. There are certain songs that evoke sadness. There are certain songs that evoke happiness or joy, or like pay attention to that. And so I did a video on Everjourney Media where I talk about the power of music, and I talk about there were certain songs that I just had to really take out of my repertoire, if you will, because, and what I wanted people to glean from the video was to pay close attention to when you listen to a song, pay close attention to how it makes you feel and what it makes you want to do. Take inventory of that. And that's any song, even your favorite R&B record. Take inventory to what does that song, does it evoke pride? Does it evoke anxiety? Does it evoke manipulation? Pay attention to those things, because it definitely, like I was driving the other day. Oh, this is what I wanted to tell y'all. I was driving the other day, and I rarely listen to like just regular radio. I rarely listen to it. But now what I'm noticing is it's just a lot of independent, just really anything now. And the topics and what they're talking about is unlike anything I've ever heard. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm just probably going to continue with my playlist. I'm good. I can't do it. Because it's just certain songs that are just very jarring, to your ear, the sounds, I won't even say instruments. I just think they're just certain sounds. He said, yes, I am likely this. I only connect. Yep. Yep. I'm on your page with that. Who is this talking about some algorithm boost? If you don't get off of here, removed. No, indeed. Talking about some algorithm boost. Why do people do that? I don't know. They just do. All right, y'all. I'm going to let you go. I don't want to. This has been amazing. This has been so amazing. So amazing. So I don't want to let you go, but I know it's super late in certain places and spaces. But what I will say, thank you for joining. My name is LaShonda. I'm a child of grace. I serve at the pleasure of Jesus Christ. And it's been a pleasure to connect with you in this way on this live tonight. Bless you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Thank you for your enlightenment. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your just steering, providing information, useful information. That means the world. So I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I thank you. Be blessed. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend until we meet again.